Yeah, we are live.
Looks like we're live.
Yeah. So Sandeep, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Hi Saraswati, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Thank you so much.
So great to see you on camera. Today's topic, life balance, seems to be on everyone's mind, especially after COVID. So how do we go about achieving this? We would really like to know about it through Sandeep, through our discussion with Sandeep today. So before we go on to the topic, I would like to give a very brief introduction of Sandeep. Sandeep is an international Reiki master, business Qigong guide, mindfulness coach, belief clearing coach, and author of 2 internationally acclaimed books, Arrive at Success and Renewal. Wow, I mean, so much covered in just 2-3 lines, Sandeep. Very, very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. So without much ado, let's get on with the topic. So Sandeep, I think some of the questions which come to the mind, how do you live in balance with multiple priorities in lives today? Very relevant.
That's a great question to start with, Saraswati. You know, think of life like a Google account. So you got your 15 gigabytes. That's it, right? And then before you know it, it's like overstuffed. You're wondering, you keep getting the messages that your mailbox is overfull and stuff like that, right? Now, that's when we realize that, oops, we are kind of out of balance. What are we doing? This stress. And it's because we've got so many pictures and so many videos and so many mails and attachments and friends and maps and directions and all that, which is just accumulated together. And now that it's all there, we are sitting and scratching our heads. How do we declutter? How do we get in balance, like you said? What are our priorities? And that's a key word there. You know, when we work out once and for all the levels of priorities that we live our lives with, this whole question of balance goes out of the window. There is nothing to balance because your life comes into a flow because you have set certain priorities by way of which your decisions will be taken. So decision making becomes easy. There is no time lost on that. I'll give you an example. You know, like my wife, she's a wonderful cook and she loves it. I mean, it makes her heart happy. And so whenever she has a little gap in time between her Spanish classes and various languages she's learning and teaching and all of that, she loves to get into the kitchen and put together something which is a whole lot of calories for both of us. And that's great. But somewhere she's got this latent desire to read books that lead to spiritual upliftment. I mean, she understands that, you know, that connection with what we do in this life affects next life, and so let's accumulate more of knowledge, which is the only thing that goes into our mind stream and all that. That very powerful wisdom that we get from ancient Vedic and Buddhist and Oriental texts. Has she been able to prioritize reading that? The answer is no. And that's what causes her the sense of dissatisfaction, the sense of, it suddenly just comes back, you know, what am I doing? Am I on purpose? Am I living my life right? We've got everything. We have a great life. We enjoy our meals and all those calories. But is this satisfying? And if any of you ladies listening are in that position where you're wondering whether what I'm doing is completely satisfying, despite having everything to do I sometimes get this feeling that, but something's hollow? Well, that's an indicator that something is, like Saraswati said, out of balance. And it's also an indicator of a time where you can sit with somebody who can guide you, or maybe even sit with my blog. There's an article on priorities there, and understand how to define the levels of priorities and put stuff in those levels once and for all, so that you're sorted. Then the cakes will also happen, the books reading will also happen, life will also happen, and it'll all flow. And that's the beauty of how this thing really works out, how we pan out during the course of our lives, in spite of so many things happening within that 15 gigabytes. So some people live that 15 gigabytes and have very, very satisfying lives, having built organizations, having built NGOs, having done so much in the same 24 hours, in the same 365 days, and others are just scrambling for it. The difference is getting those things in order, and that leading to purpose and satisfaction. And that is something that you can actually cultivate as a habit, Saraswati. So that's what I'd like our viewers to explore. What do you think?
That was very clear. Thank you so much. So just one more thing was that how do we implement some of these repeatable habits so that we can include this in our lives?
Great that you touch upon the word habits, because that's exactly what I just said, that's what we make into habits. So the mother of all habits is the habit of mindfulness. And what does mindfulness mean? Mindfulness means, it does not really mean what's popularly thought of, present moment and being aware of what's happening right now. It's not exactly that. The simple understanding of the word mindfulness is to remember. Like it says on a low ceiling sometimes, mind your head. What does that mean? That means remember that you have a head. So mind it, like Rajinikanth says, mind it. Which means remember, I'm Rajinikanth, don't take pangas with me. So that's where mindfulness comes from. Minding, remembering what it is we're doing, what's again important. So like reading books, how much time are we allocating for that? So the habit is about being mindful about what it is you're doing. And if you haven't been mindful in the past, there's no problem. But what you might have seen happening is like you're driving along this highway of life. I'm from Delhi, I live in Gurgaon. So let's say I'm driving from Gurgaon to Jaipur. And I'm not mindful of the road because I'm driving around having fun, sipping my drink and eating my sandwich. And suddenly those road signs come, those forks come in the road. And before I know it, I'm bound for Alwar. So in a couple of hours, I am at Alwar. And I wonder, what am I doing in Alwar? Like, this is not where I had intended to be. But when I reach Alwar and not Jaipur, I make do with that reality. I find that, all right, this is not bad. I mean, I'm still in Rajasthan. I still have some forts around. I still get these. In fact, the cost of living is lower. And I justify to myself how Alwar is the right thing to, the right place to be. But deep down, I know that I missed a sign somewhere. And if I was mindful then, I might have been at my goal today. If I would have been mindful later along the way, I may have taken one of those diversions that keep taking me to Jaipur. And even today, if I'm mindful about whether there is an alignment between what I really want and what I really have, and if there is not an alignment, I can still be, I can remember what I really want and take the road back to Jaipur. It may take a little longer, but it may be a new journey. And in the bargain, I've discovered something new. I've discovered something that I positively don't think was the right thing for me. Alwar. It wasn't the right thing. It was good. It's good to experience. But let me head back. And you can do that at any age. At like Nika shows us last month, that at the age of 50, you can reinvent yourself. And at the age of 65, the Colonel Sanders of KFC reinvented himself. At the age of, I can go on with that. The point is, age is not a barrier. When you know that I can change some things that I do by way of the way I think, by the way of the the way I feel about things, and then the way I take actions on those things. So thinking, feeling, and action. When I can get that into alignment and get back on the road with the willingness to act again, drive again, and get back to Jaipur, that's when I can have the completely satisfying life that I always want. And it's just this habit of checking for your alignment, checking for where I am, how am I thinking, how am I feeling, how am I acting, which is a function of how mindful we are about the way that we're living our lives, and whether we recognize that this level of satisfaction is where we want to go with this flow, or we need to or want to or feel like making a little change to reach another state of satisfaction. You can be satisfied anywhere, but you're most satisfied when you're most aligned. So does that sound like a good habit to cultivate, Saraswati?
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. Very inspiring and what you call focused. So, so what are the two things that needs to be balanced? When you say balance, like what are we exactly balancing?
Wow, that's a great question. You know, this comes out of our early childhood's education, social conditioning, and the dogmatic views that are ingrained into us, that balance has to be between two things. It's like that balance that we see, the Libra thing, that it's got to be this up, this down, good, bad, yeah. Everything has to be a comparison of two things. And I think all our viewers are going to get that question really, that work and life and family and life and spouse and kids, and how do I balance, what do I do? But here's the thing, balance, I mean, after 10 minutes of speaking to you on balance, I can tell you balance is a myth. There's nothing like balance. It's all about the flow. 5 minutes back, we're talking about the flow. When you flow and you flow into Alwar, and then you decide you want to flow into Jaipur, or when you're flowing with all those things on your Google Drive, that state of flow is paramount, and that arises from our alignment. So while you can look at balance, you can look at balance between work and life, although I completely discard that idea, because it is all life. Work is a part of life. So how does work flow into life is what you've got to be looking at. Family is a part of life. How does family flow into life? That's what you've got to be looking at. And how do you align your work, your family, and the rest of your life? That's where your priorities come in. And that's where you define how you do things, how you take your decisions. But this alignment itself, this is the A grade stuff. In fact, it's interesting. I'm just thinking of this aloud. Balance is B grade. It starts with a B. Alignment is A grade. It starts with an A. And what are you to align? You're to align three things. So it's not two. In fact, everything in life is in threes, like thoughts, feelings, actions we're talking about. It's the three trinity of the body, the mind, and the spirit. So thoughts, if you look at it, is the mind. Actions is what you do. That's the body, physical part of it. And feelings are what are deep inside. That's our spirit. So if you can align your thoughts, feelings, and actions, you can align your body, mind, and spirit. And alignment of body, mind, spirit is the state of being completely without stress. I'll give you an example. Again on this trinity. Thoughts are the things that we say. When it comes to our mind, we can say it, right? More often than not. I mean, you wouldn't say something that you haven't thought of earlier. Actions are what we do, right? And feelings are how we behave, how we be, our human being, the inside of us. So that being is our subconscious, is deep within. So the say, the do, and the be have to be in alignment. Now, if we say something, but we do something else, then we are stressed. We are out of balance, right? You may do it because some member of the family wants it, because the client wants it, because the boss wants it, but you don't feel that that's the right thing. And that misalignment between the say, do, be, the thoughts, actions, feelings, the body, mind, spirit, is so rampant. It's so visible, especially in the corporate world, that's why the corporate world is under so much stress, because we are disconnecting ourselves from ourselves. We are operating in three different silos. We say things to please people. We don't mean them. We don't feel that way. We do things because it is expected of us. But internally, our self-talk is that I'm doing it because of them. The moment this thing about because comes in, you are automatically becoming the victim. I am this way because of something outside of me. And the moment you're playing victim, you are in a bad place to be. So the balance is all about the alignment of three things, and bringing that with mindful awareness that what I'm saying is that what I'm doing is that how I actually feel. And once you're in that state, everything just flows. It's super easy. That's the state I'd like you all to be in. How cool would that be? What do you think?
Thanks, Sandeep. Yeah, that was quite mind-blowing, I would say. So in a nutshell, basically, there's no internal conflict then when there is all this alignment, and then you are kind of at internal peace. You can say that's what I could make out. So
True.
great. Thank you. So I just wanted to check any last words for SayCheese community. Any special message you have for our audience here?
You're in a great place, right time with the right people. And I would urge you to take steps, because as Saraswati said, it's about doing something. It's about creating the habit. The habit is what you do, and creating the habits which take you on this path to no inner conflict, to balance, to living with satisfaction, having fulfillment, having achieved something, writing your stories, whatever age you might be at, rewriting them. Because now, with this supportive ecosystem, this environment, you can actually renew yourself. Whatever has happened in the past, this is a time for renewal. In fact, renewal is the name of a book I wrote, and it's a movement that I'm running. And I think if each one of us takes the responsibility to renew ourselves, the world would be a great place, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
There you are.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. Thank you for your very motivational words.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks, Aras.